How do I communicate better with my mom?
That's the ad Anthropic just ran at the Super Bowl. 120 million viewers. A guy asks a chatbot how to talk to his mom. The chatbot starts off fine, then ends up selling him a cougar dating site.
Find emotional connection with other older women on Golden Encounters, the mature dating site that connects sensitive cubs with roaring cougars.
The message? Ads are coming to AI, but not to Claude. Sam Altman completely lost it on X. He called Anthropic authoritarian. You know, when the CEO of your biggest competitor loses his cool in public over your ad, you know you hit a nerve. But this isn't just about an ad. On Wednesday, Anthropic released Opus 4.6, the most advanced model on the market. The tool is available to everyone. The ability to actually use it inside an organization, that's a completely different game. Ask anyone who's tested every top model, GPT 5.3, Gemini or DeepSeek. Ask them which one they use when it's their own project, their own money, when it has to work. It's Opus, every single time. First, you get 1 million tokens in context. That means 750,000 words, your entire code base, your annual reports, all in one pass. Second, adaptive reasoning. The model decides on its own when it needs to think harder. 4 levels of effort. Third, agent teams. This one is wild. Multiple Claudes working in parallel on the same project. It's not an assistant, it's a team. Your analysts catch trends you would have missed. You're in sales. It anticipates objections before the client says them. Your managers, they cover angles you hadn't considered. The script you're listening to right now, where do you think it came from? And while I'm talking to you, Sonnet 5 leaked in the press. Not released yet. But the mid-tier model is already better than the old top of the line. So what is Claude? It's a chat. Everyone has access to the same model. Your competitor will open Claude.ai tomorrow morning. The real competitive advantage with Claude is skills. Skills are instructions Claude follows automatically. It's literally your way of working, encoded. Anyone can ask Claude a question, but an organization running custom skills, integrated processes, and governance. That's the difference between Googling your symptoms and seeing a doctor. I have a skill for presentations. My template, my fonts, my colors, my structure, my tone. Create me a presentation on our AI offering for a manufacturing client. I want 10 slides. 10 slides, my branding, exactly the way I do it myself. It's not a generic template. It's literally my way of doing things. My boss wants to know why we went over budget. Find me the problem, color code everything that's over 10% in red, 3 anomalies found, including a duplicate invoice for $12,000 that nobody had caught. Copilot understands your Excel syntax. Claude understands what you're trying to do. It's not the same sport. Now, I need to tell you about Cowork. Cowork is Claude stepping out of the chat box and into your computer. You point it to a folder. You talk normally. Claude executes. Take all the Excel files in this folder. Consolidate sales by region. Export to PowerPoint using the corporate template. PowerPoint ready. The kind of task that takes a competent person 2 hours. 2 hours that person can now spend on strategy, analysis, and client relationships. Extension are what cost Wall Street $285 billion. It's not just a connection to an app, it's a complete package. Skills, sub-agents, and commands. It transforms Claude into a specialist in your domain. We talked about skills, Cowork, and extensions. The theory is nice, but now I'm going to show you how to concretely build a skill from A to Z. Install it in a Cowork plugin. Test it live, all in a few minutes. Imagine you want to audit AI tools in your company. Your people are using ChatGPT, Copilot, maybe a new product like Google Antigravity. You want to know which one is safe before you give the green light. You sit down and realize you need to evaluate each tool on at least 11 criteria. Is the infrastructure private or shared? Encryption keys, do you manage them or does the vendor? Data retention, customizable or imposed. Your data usage, just for the service, or to train their model. Localization, intellectual property, third-party sharing. Then there's certifications, SOC 2, ISO 27001, GDPR encryption level, uptime SLA, and the policy when nothing is documented. What's your default position? Now imagine doing that for every single tool. You've got 3 to compare. Manually, that's hours. That's exactly why nobody does it. And that's exactly why shadow AI is exploding. So here's the first thing. I have a skill that creates skills. Meta, I know. It's a file that teaches Claude the best practices for building other skills. I'm going to ask it to use that. I explain what I want. A tool that analyzes terms of service, privacy policies, and security documentation for any AI tool. I want it to produce a compliance report based on my 11 criteria grid. Each criterion has 3 levels. Excellent, acceptable, or poor, with precise definitions for each. Opus generates the entire skill. A markdown file with the analysis workflow, the criteria, and the output format. I ask it to add 2 things. First, the output format. For each criterion, a verdict with justification pulled directly from the documentation, direct citations. If the information is missing, the verdict is automatically poor, because in security, absence of information is a red flag in itself. Second, when it receives a URL, it needs to do a real deep search. Not just read one page. It needs to go find the terms of service, the privacy policy, the trust center, the data processing agreement, the subprocessors, the enterprise documentation, everything that exists. In the last pass, I ask it to take the skill creation skill and review its own work against best practices. It receives the description, puts everything in imperative form, adds concrete examples, and cleans up inconsistencies. Now, the skill is ready. 1 zip, 2 files, so that's a skill. You could use it directly. But now I want a Cowork plugin with /commands. That way, anyone in the organization can type a command and get an audit. Claude goes and finds the enterprise documentation for the plugin structure. I ask for 3 commands. Audit tool to audit a single tool. Compare tools to compare several side by side. Generate report to produce an executive report when you already have the documentation in the conversation. My plugin is ready. 1 zip, drag and drop into Cowork. 3/commands. The skill is integrated. The compliance grid. The whole business. Now it's the moment of truth. We're going to test. And we're not just auditing one tool. We're comparing 3 at the same time. I will use cybersecurity audit compare tools. 3 links. OpenAI, Microsoft 365 Copilot, and Google Antigravity. Claude starts. It reads the grid. It launches searches in parallel for all 3 tools. Watch this. It doesn't know Google Antigravity. Instead of making something up, it goes and checks what it is. It's their new AI IDE. It finds it. Then it keeps going. It scoured terms of service, privacy policy, trust center, DPA, subprocessors, documentation. For all 3 tools in parallel. Once it has everything, it generates the report. Here are the results. OpenAI ChatGPT Enterprise, 32 out of 33. Isolated infrastructure, encryption, 0 data retention. Data never used for training. SOC2 Type 2. ISO 27001. Near perfect. Microsoft 365 Copilot. Again, 32 out of 33. 97%. The full M365 infrastructure behind it. Customer key. Customizable retention policies. ISO 42001 compliance for AI management. Finally, Google Antigravity. 18 out of 33. 55%. That's where it falls apart. Why? Not because it's dangerous. The product is in public preview. No SLA, no dedicated DPA, no customer managed keys. 6 criteria out of 11 fall to poor because it's not documented. Remember, absence of information equals poor. All of that in a structured comparative report, ready to send to the VP of IT, the CISO, the board. Not an email that says it depends. Clear verdicts, scores, and recommendations. We just created a skill, put it in a Cowork plugin with 3 commands, tested it with a comparative audit of 3 tools, all in a few minutes. 98% of organizations have employees using unauthorized AI tools. 83% operate with no basic controls. Instead of banning the tools, which never works, you need to give people a framework.